Welcome back. You're watching One on One. We're speaking with legendary basketball star Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, now a coach and motivational speaker. Kareem, your time at UCLA was also very interesting because you had such a height advantage that the authorities, the National College Athletic Association, even banned the dunk shot for 10 years because of what you could do. Now, that's when you developed that famous skyhook shot. Tell me how that came about.
Well, actually, I learned how to shoot the hook shot when I was in the 5th grade. I didn't have a height advantage. It was a little bit different from how you framed it. The year I graduated from UCLA, there were 60 other players that played college basketball that were listed at 7 foot or taller. So
they credited to you, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, I think it was just the dominance of the UCLA team, really, that led the rules makers to change the rules and ban the dunk, but it didn't stop UCLA at all. I played my last 2 years not being able to dunk the basketball, and we still were the best team in the country. We won 3 consecutive NCAA tournament championships. So what they were doing, if it was to inhibit me, it didn't work.
Well, I say you pushed the team to new heights. One thing about that skyhook is that there were very few people who could actually stop it.
Right, nobody was able to stop it. It's that type of shot, though. Even today, if anyone were to just take the time to learn how to shoot it, they would find that it's a very effective weapon, especially against tall defenders. But really, it's a shot from the early days of basketball. When I learned how to play in the 50s, in the mid-50s, probably it was going out of style then. But I was in the 5th grade when I learned how to shoot it and learned the mechanics of it, and it just was a very useful weapon for me my whole basketball career.
Now, you unfortunately had a couple of injuries to your eye. You got your cornea scratched a couple of times and yes, started wearing the goggles as well. Did you get any permanent damage from that?
No, fortunately I didn't, but I realized a couple of years into my professional career that the fact that people's hands were swinging at the ball and my head was up there around where everybody was waving their hands, I was going to get poked in the eye, and I took the precaution of wearing protective goggles, and it probably saved my career.
And of course, you had a fantastic run with the Milwaukee Bucks in 1971, actually a couple of weeks after your birthday and day after they won the championship, NBA championship. That's when you converted to Islam and changed your name as well. Yes,
I actually had converted to Islam earlier while I was going to UCLA, but I didn't go public with it for a while. Just wanted to make sure that that's actually what I wanted to do, and make sure that it wasn't just a passing fancy, and I decided that that's how I wanted to live my life.
The decision came, you actually had looked into your family roots and saw that there were some roots through the original slave trade that, that prompted you to consider Islam, wasn't it?
Oh, of course. In American history, there are many things that remain kind of hidden, and many people that were brought to America as slaves were Muslim. People often remember the story that Alex Haley wrote about called Roots, where he traced his ancestry back to Senegambia, and
Kunta Kinte, of course, yeah.
Kunta Kinte, who came from a Muslim tribe in West Africa, and that was a lot more commonplace than people have acknowledged.
Did you, I know you're not a political person in any way with religion and everything else, but did you notice a sort of wave of change after 9/11 that, it was a little harder, A, being American, and then also being a Muslim?
Well, yes, it was. There were a lot of suspicion going on. The 9/11 attacks created a lot of fear, and most Americans didn't know very much about Islam. There's quite a broad spectrum of political thought and religious practice involved in the Muslim world, and most Americans didn't know very much about it. It just seemed something very frightening and exotic, and anyone who claimed to have any association with it really was looked upon with suspicion. I think just the fact that in America they've tried to find out what it's all about, that knowledge has been able to clear the air a lot, and people understand now that most Muslim Americans are by and large, loyal Americans.
It's amazing what you've seen, actually, in the changes in America, because you witnessed the civil rights movement, you witnessed the change, you know, right through the Reagan and Carter era and everything. Now, in that time, did you ever expect to see a black president in America?
I didn't think that it would happen with Obama until he won the primary in Iowa. And that was when I suddenly realized that he might be able to win this thing, because for some reason, who knows what, but Americans judging him on the content of his character, and he seemed to be the most qualified person to do the job. It was really quite a change. I wish my parents could have lived to have seen it.
I want to touch on the acting a bit. I know you don't act so much now, but of course I witnessed you in Game of Death, Bruce Lee's last film before he died. I was a huge Bruce Lee fan as well, and remember the big footprint you left on his chest. Did you enjoy the acting?
Yeah, I enjoyed acting. I had pretty good times doing it. I did some television and a couple of movies. It was a lot of fun. The movie Airplane, something I think everybody in the airline profession watches that movie. I still get comments from pilots and sometimes stewardesses about one scene or another from that movie.
Across all the fields in which you've worked, from the acting, the writing, the basketball, who do you consider your mentors?
I think in terms of a role model, someone that I looked up to and emulated, that would have been Jackie Robinson. Played for the Brooklyn Dodgers. He went to UCLA and was a civil rights leader. I think in terms of role models, him, Malcolm X. Certainly my coach at UCLA, John Wooden, is someone who had a great influence on my life, and he tried to emphasize to me that I could be an athlete and a scholar, and I could handle all of it. And I really benefited from just learning from him and incorporating what he felt was a key into my life. You
always had very well known for your strict fitness regime, and it gave you a long career too in basketball. It's something you keep up, presumably.
Yeah, I try to stay healthy. You know, it's something you have to be determined to do. A lot of my friends, now that I'm in my 60s, a lot of my friends have had strokes and heart attacks, and I don't get it, you know, because I was very fortunate to be able to have professional basketball as a career and into my 40s. So, you know, the fitness regimen is something that it does you well as you get older. All the work that you put in as a younger person really pays off at that time. Yoga is a big part of your life too, as well, isn't it? Yes, it is. Yoga really helped me have the lengthy career that I did have because it's great maintenance. One of my sons, my middle son Amir, he's a yoga teacher. He's also studying to be a doctor, but he teaches yoga on the side, and it's meant something to him also. Now, you're also amazing because you keep up with technology. You've got one of the highest followings on Twitter. Everyone reads your tweets. That's amazing. What got you into that? Basically, it was a way to communicate with people that eliminated the middleman, and I started tweeting during the basketball playoffs, and people wanted some insight into what was happening on the court, and I managed to keep the people who followed that. They're still following me, so it's something I don't understand that much. You know, my kids know a lot more about it than I do, but it seems to be working. And the writing, of course, I gather you're also starting to venture into the idea of children's books too. Yeah, I have a book coming out that will talk about inventors, American inventors of color, and hopefully that will come out in 2011. Are there any projects in your life that you've said, I've got to tackle, whether personal or professional, but say something I want to do you haven't had a chance to do yet? Well, I think I've just started a foundation called the Skyhook Foundation that will try to affect the lives of young people in a positive way through sports and education. I really think that that's a key for getting our youth to take the right steps in life, and hopefully, the Skyhook Foundation will be a factor in making that possible for a number of children.
Well, Kareem, I don't think anyone will ever forget one of the world's greatest basketball players, but how would you like to be remembered?
Well, I just hope I can be remembered as more than a basketball player. I always felt that my mind was my greatest asset, and I tried to use that on top of being gifted in the field of sports to use my mind and be a factor in more than one phase of life. I hope people will give me credit for that.
I wish you a long life. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, thank you very much.
My pleasure, Riz. Thank you.